This is the Life of Logos podcast. I'm Colin.
I'm Ken.
My man, we are getting into it. In the last episode, we spoke about stepping out on this franchise, which is awesome.
Stepping out on faith.
This,
In his loins.
it's more than that. But as we're starting on this business journey, I'm going to ask you about this. I'm going to make a statement, agree with it, disagree with it. I don't actually have a problem with capitalism. I have a problem with corporate greed.
One of the 7 deadlies. It's one of the 7 deadlies in a suit.
It is. And I think what's happened, unfortunately, is particularly with the advancements of technology, we've allowed ourselves to take more at the expense of more for our people.
Elaborate on that.
So it's like this, right? Once upon a time, we were in a situation where we were primarily farmers.
Yep.
And then we went from farmers to mostly like factory workers.
Yeah.
We went from factory workers to more digital intellectual stuff.
Agriculture to manufacturing to now we got computers.
Right. But now we're in AI.
Now we're in AI.
Right. So the amount of money that you need to spend per person is actually technically less because more people can do more work with less requirements.
The work is less specialized and there are better tools to get that work done. Right. So yeah, that drives the price cut for the person doing it.
Yes. So businesses are actually saving money because of advances in technology.
Right.
However, they're still charging the people the same amount of money. You're still getting paid the same.
Right. So I'll cut you off real quick. So like if you remember back in the day when you had them big fat ass TVs. You remember the TV with a big fat ass?
The tubes.
Yeah, the tubes. Yeah. I'm talking about specifically, they had like the Sony ones. They all made them the exact same. They were like silver. They had the speakers on the side. Mm-hmm. You had a little flap, right? Yeah. That flapped open. You had the power button, them 3 little jacks that you can plug in your VCR, your VCR. Nobody tell them that. Oh, sometimes they would.
Yeah.
You know, that's an add-on. But usually just the big fat ass TV that was probably like 150 pounds. So we all had those, but they started off, I remember as a kid, those joints were like $750, $799 or something.
Right.
It was crazy expensive until plasma screens came out.
Yeah.
Right before flat screens, right? So then you had a flat screen, youngins, YNs. There was a flat screen that also had a fat ass.
True.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they had those before the flat screen. So then the super fat ass TVs with the double speakers, those went from being $7.99, they got cut to like $5. So then everybody, if you didn't have one before, now your grandma got one.
True.
Okay, so granny got the fat ass TV because now it's more affordable. Okay, flat screens came out. Plasma screens, they got way cheaper, almost dirt cheap when flat screens got flatter and their technology got better. And then they were giving away the big fat ass TVs with the double speakers because nobody was buying them. Okay, so then you eventually erase that TV. Those got liquidated probably at $2.99. Then everybody and the crackhead uncle also had them. So then those TVs flooded the market. They gone. Then everybody had a plasma screen. Those were gone. Then everybody had a flat screen. Okay, everybody has a flat screen. Flat screen costs $400-$500. Mm-hmm. Okay, how much does a flat screen cost right now?
Depending on where you get it, as low as $100.
You can get one for $100, but the one you want is probably still going to be about $300-$400. They've added some stuff to it. They've added Roku and they've added YouTube TV and a little bit of bullshit this and whatever. Okay, cool. We can stream. You could have put a Fire Stick in there and got the same utility out of that TV.
True.
But because they've added on some stuff that cost them really nothing to do, maybe you could have done a COT solution that cost $30-$40.
True.
And a flash drive S Fire Stick or something, right? But because you opted not to do that, you wanted to have one remote control that did everything, one sword to wield it all. They upcharge you like another $200-$300.
That's true.
Right?
Corporate greed,
which puts us right back to where we were before.
I think you wonderfully showed up corporate greed in that case, and the advancement of technology. So as people were starting not only franchises, but businesses, right? Mm-hmm. Enoch Books, or whatever we end up naming the media company to be. Mm. We have the opportunity to not take that greed.
Right.
So I'm opening a franchise, and I was thinking about this the other day. Sometimes, side note, I was so, again, as we talked about last night, my animal brain was telling me that this isn't going to work. And then all of a sudden, I had this, like, the best way I could describe it is like a download of information.
Yeah.
This is how you're going to treat your employees. What happens? And essentially was this.
Okay.
Every year, everybody needs to get at least 30 days of time off. Much like the military.
Have to. Yeah.
Right. You get 30 days time off. Now, corporate, you can be lucky to get 2 weeks. I'm saying 30 days across the board. The week between Palm Sunday and Easter, we're going to have a company event.
Come on.
Where everybody comes together. Right. Hey, this is what happened this year. This is what we want for next year. We have our corporate time. And that is to translate until the part where we have parks and whatnot, where everybody comes to the parks for that week.
That'd be dope.
Yeah. So if it were Disney, which is not,
right?
Everybody in the company. Oh, it's way better. We're gonna destroy Disney, but
one mouse at a time.
Hey, we got a cat. Anyway, we are both wearing Disney merch right now, and it's the same merch actually.
We're gonna start Disney. Yeah. We're like, corporate greed.
We love you.
Damn,
we have a week.
Shouldn't have said
that. It's not like they can make a movie anymore.
Damn.
Anyway,
shots fired.
So we all come together for a week.
Yeah.
And say, hey, you know what? This is what we did. This is what we're trying to do. This is where everything is. I want the entire outside world shut off.
Yeah.
Right. So we're all going to the parks. We're staying in the hotels. The people who typically work the grounds will get somebody else to work the grounds. That way, the people can enjoy the fruit of the thing that they created.
Subcontract it out and let everyone really enjoy it. And I think once you have, to me, I think that's a beautiful idea. That's great. But also when you get to do that, like you have, it's almost like a restaurant. And I've seen like certain restaurants say that my employees eat free and they take food home at no charge to them.
They should.
Right? Especially if they have kids. Like go home, you worked all day, go home with food. But when you do that, to me, that makes you more of a steward of that food. Because you don't want a shitty sandwich, right? If you're making these sandwiches that you're going to eat yourself, you're going to feed your kids, then that will probably put a little onus on you to be like, I should make a better sandwich.
That's a good point.
I should make a better whatever it is. And same thing with the parks. Mm-hmm. If you have this environment where you have people coming in, you're like, I work on this thing every day, but I never know what it is. I come in, I punch a card. You don't know how it is. You go in, you do your shit on the computer. What came out of that? Wrong. Could have been something great. Could have been nothing at all. Could have been something disastrous. I don't know. Punch a card, do the thing, get out there, give me my check in 2 weeks or a month from now.
Yeah.
But if you get there and you're involved in it, you ride the rides, you see the customer service, you get to buy some of the merch, or you get some of the merch for free, right? To maybe give somebody else. And you get to experience everything. And maybe you even get like gift bags or something to give to employees will get to give to someone else. You look at that bag and you scrutinize within it and be like, man, it's kind of garbage, man. Why would they make an action figure like this? This is a stupid little whatever. And then from that perspective, like other people start to like talk and there's a creative melding of minds in that. And when you create that internally, and that's one reason I'm going to say, I think Disney initially was so successful, especially Disney World versus Disneyland. All these people who went to Disney as kids,
right? And
they saw, and they're like, oh my God, if I could just work at Disney. And then they got there and they were like, here's how we can make it better. Here's how we can add something to it. So yeah, I feel like if you home grow it, it's even better.
That could be great.
Yeah.
And I think that's highlighting the cycle of, hey, this is what it is. This is what we produce. This is how we can make it better.
Yeah.
You're investing in the people,
right? Not
necessarily the profit.
We're not looking at it as employees, I think. And I think that's the best way to look at it. You're looking at them as people and almost, I would say coworkers almost, right? Like
they're coworkers.
Which they are, but I don't think employers look at random employees, the guy who sweeps, the girl who checks people out at the counter.
Right.
I don't think the CEO looks at them as co-workers. I don't think the owner of the company looks at them like co-workers. Like a football team. I don't think Jerry Jones and those GMs look at those NFL players or Pat Riley and those NBA owners. I think Mark Cuban does. But I don't think the rest of them really look at their teams like we are co-workers building towards a vision, that vision being a championship. And once you get that championship, a dynasty of championships and a winning era.
Yeah.
Everybody's not bought into that because, again, you random receiver, you're replaceable tomorrow, we'll get whoever next week. Next, whatever NBA player, you playing with LeBron James and he have a bad 3 weeks together, well, guess what? You're getting off my team and we're bringing on Bronny.
That's accurate, yeah.
So you got to look at people like, hey, we are all in this together. We are employees. If it was my wife, girlfriend, best friend, mom, sister, whoever working there, how would you treat that person then? Yeah, I'm gonna give my mama 2 weeks off. You work all year doing this crazy job. Hell, give them 6 weeks off. I don't know, but like in that, if you have a big enough staff, it should be easy enough to rotate through everybody, so everybody gets a fair, almost quarter off if you really want to do it. If you want to get crazy,
with it, I think that might be a little hard to sustain, but it's possible.
But again, at that, so with greed, I think there's like a balance of like, I think sometimes you get paid what you get paid because there's a balance of bullshit you have to put up.
Right? Yes,
but if you can somehow negotiate with them, where, and I know I would personally do this. If you gave me a quarter of the year off, or if you gave me like 2 full months off, almost like teachers do.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I would definitely take a pay cut. Easy. That's fine. I would want to. If you somehow wanted to like take a little piece of whatever package you think you're giving me worth X amount of whatever, or whatever you think you're giving me on a monetary salary, that's cool. But like, I could ideally negotiate my salary within thousands of dollars. You could do it. You can sit there and be like, oh, because of my work experience and because of the market, they will swing like this.
True.
Just because of some work you said. So if that's the case, if that's just how we really feel about a salary, just shrug, it is what it is. It's just imaginary. I just poked out of the sky. Then hell, give me more time off. You can keep your extra, like whatever salary you're going to finesse, and we're going to negotiate and finagle. I'd rather it be like a certain used car dealership where they say there's no haggling. Or like a regular dealership versus a used car sale that just says this is the price flat out. If you want to pay it, then cool, and pay folks on a flat rate depending on like tiers or specialization. And then from there, just give them more time off. And then if you can, I think there's a way to balance paying less for each employee so that you can have a greater force of people so that everybody can rotate through, have a break, and you're never in a deficit of manpower.
There's a way to do it. It's not the easiest.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you can do that, but you'd have to train them in a way that they understand why they have to do what they do.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I'm learning about the civilian world versus the military world.
Yeah.
Is the military world will train like Josephus, right?
Yeah.
And make them into something that they want them to be. The civilian world hopes that they can exploit your experience and just hope that you're a good person. Which is part of the things I'm thinking about, is that when this thing is running, the whole corpus is running, there has to be some sort of initial training to bring people in to establish that value and to make sure that they have the competence to be able to move forward what they have. Not saying that they're dumb, but they may not know exactly what they're doing. There should be no reason our managers only have 9 hours of training.
Okay. Expand.
So there's a couple things I'm going to hit them real quick.
Yeah.
I think that part of cycling in people and making sure you have enough of their voice to be able to constantly improve the part is an essential part of keeping on the front edge of your industry.
All right.
I don't think corporations do that, because if you were to go talk to somebody at Disneyland right now, they already have ideas of how to make the place better that are not being integrated.
Right.
So if you listen to your people, that would be a great way to do that. I think a way to do that is having that week where you're like, hey, you can pitch your feedback. Hey, and have everybody at the parks. So the engineer, the animator, the guy who sweeps, they're in the lines together. We're in the conversation, right?
Yeah.
Have that for a week.
Now, why would you do that versus a little brown suggestion box? You want to take a whole week to have fun? To enjoy each other and your coworkers, and it sounds good, but like, why not just have a little suggestion box and just let them just poke it in there? Give them some index cards, a nice marker, nice smooth. Mark, I would say Sharpie, but again, we're not sponsored. But if you wanted to sponsor, you just put it right there.
Yeah.
Why not?
I think you lose the impact of the person when it's just a piece of paper.
Yeah.
But if you were to say, I came to you and, hey man, this is my idea. Let me show you. Let me make it real for you.
Yeah.
You can look me in the eye and say, hey, this is what it is. Let's move forward with that. Or maybe this is why this is important.
So let me ask you this then. So in this, I feel like there should be some type of, in this week, I'm sure it's a series of seminars, I'm sure of like speakers and influencers within the company from different tiers and levels. I'm sure there's some games and some fun to be had.
Sure.
I'm sure there are shows and things that are being worked on. But in there, I think the Air Force, right? How there's a SBIRS process.
Yeah.
So SBIRS, Small Business Innovative Research,
I believe.
project, something like that.
Mhm.
But like basically, people have these small, like innovative things. If they can showcase what it is, sometimes on paper, sometimes they might have an actual physical object to bring in. Then there's a panel of people. They see who gets approved, and then that goes forward. So why not have something like SBIRS and then have a forum? Tell them months and months ahead of time. Let them know if you have an idea. Come to the stage. We have an open forum for 2 days between 8 and 6 o'clock, and we just sit here and we watch people either present their ideas or brief their ideas, however. And then not only if it's an idea we end up taking, either pay them a fixed amount or draw up a contract with integrity on the spot that says you get whatever restitution or whatever for you and your family for eternity or whatever, right? You get 1% off of every whatever, or $5 off of every Mickey Mouse rip off hat. I don't know that you make something, but yeah, I feel like there's got to be a way for people to get involved and want to contribute, because some people, they can sit on ideas. What makes me want to be like, oh no, I need to tell you this idea. I need to go to my boss and be like, do this thing, like the Doritos guy.
Yeah.
Right? I don't even know the Doritos story.
Tell me the Dorito story.
Dorito story. So there was a Lay's, right? Lay's was not doing too good. Was it Lay's or Frito? Something like that. Frito is a Lay's company, something like that. Somebody in either Fritos or Lay's wasn't doing too hot. The money was going down, the company was going down, and they were like, we need an idea to save the company. Janitor comes up, right? And it was like, oh no, that's hot fries. I think it's hot fries.
Like Honey's?
The Frito hot fries, I think. And then the dude, long story short, a chip dude was like, hey, yo, I got an idea. This is the thing I did at home. Boom, boom, shook it up. It was some spicy chips. And
Chili cheese Fritos?
it might have been chili
Those
cheese.
are dangerous. Though.
Won't they? Won't they? Somebody gonna be like, it was Doritos. Shut up.
It might have been Doritos.
I don't care. Doritos was made in Disney. That's what made me stop. Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
Doritos were still chips that they were throwing away at Disney. They're like, oh, we throwing these chips away because Disney flipped them shit. They shook them up and they made Doritos. That's why I'm like, was it hot fries or was it? But yeah, I think it was hot fries. Yeah, janitor came up with hot fries, I'm pretty sure. So I'm like, if that's the case, because he wanted to save the company so he can save his job, how do you give people that same level of, I need to do this? I need that, like, kick in the butt to be like, I really want this to work.
I think that's part of it. I think that's something I love the idea of putting in a forum. I haven't thought of it, admittedly.
Yeah.
That is a great idea.
Yeah. Because again, like, you gotta look at, like, how do you incentivize good ideas without screwing people over? Because how many times have you seen, like, in other companies where, like, the guy or whoever's in charge, that's a great idea, and then they just take it and they're just like, it's the companies, and then you're like, that person got screwed over, and it's a bad story.
True.
Katzenberg,
got screwed.
Katzenberg, right?
You hear me, Jeff? I'm here for you.
We're here for you, dog. So yeah, like, you don't want to screw people over. You want to incentivize them to present their great ideas. So again, I think, like, whether it be monetarily or something, they should get some type of equity in something.
You're at Class A stocks?
Yeah, that's a good way to do it.
Yeah,
too.
I think that's
Stock in the company.
Give them a piece. Give them a piece of the Class A stocks. Make the rest of it Class B. Make that public, like Nike.
Ooh,
You know what I'm saying? Everybody's got to share.
good move. Yeah.
I think that's part of it.
Yeah,
That's something. So when we get 30 days of vacation.
Yep.
Everybody is off for the week conference between Palm Sunday and Easter.
Okay.
Also, when people come to the parks or when people are doing that, families included.
Yep.
Yeah, so everybody comes and enjoys, mix and mingle with the people you work with.
Okay.
I like the idea of the forum.
Mm.
I think the classes and the announcements should all happen that week.
Yeah.
I also think every Sunday should be off.
Like Chick-fil-A.
Like Chick-fil-A. I'm so serious. Or there has to be a day of rest for the entire company every week.
Yeah.
In addition to that,
A Sabbath.
a Sabbath. I really do think that's very important.
Yeah.
I think the other thing that's going to sound super weird, I think everybody should work 6 hours a day. Maybe 7 if you want to throw in a gym hour.
Yeah.
That's it. Because studies show that actually your peak performance every week, you actually get diminishing returns after 33 hours.
Yeah.
So what I would think is, hey, listen, everybody come in. You want to start your day at 10?
Okay.
Make sure it's over at 4. You can make it 5 if you want to take an hour in there to go to the gym, work out, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
We'll give you 35 hours of work a week. We're not doing a 40-hour week. Full benefits, right?
Okay.
We'll give you the
Yeah.
full benefits of everything. 35 hours a week. because we don't want, one, I want to give people the opportunity to be with their families.
Mm.
And two, I want to make sure that you are performing at your best. If you're getting drained at the end of every week, why do we have you here?
So with that, it seems like you're very big on the family aspect.
Huge.
Of like making sure that people are bringing their families to the parks and be able to have the same level of entertainment that their person is providing.
Right.
That those families stay together and like their lives aren't centered around just work. The loved ones they either help put in the world or that are connected to them in some way or another. So as parks grow and as this thing starts off and it expands, so does the workforce.
It does.
Workforce should be, of course, bigger than the actual park. All the things that go on, logistics, maintenance, sustainment, etc. How do you, for all those people and their families, how do you work out having the availability, the park capacity, availability, amount of tickets? If you think about Disney, right? Like every employer and 2 people every day got the opportunity to go to the park, then there would be enough space for regular customers and like park goers. So how would you work that out?
So the weeks, are we talking about specifically the week where everybody's there? Or
Just in general.
Okay, so the week that between Palm Sunday and Easter, that recovery week, there's no customers.
Yeah.
Right, that's just employees.
Fair.
As far as actually having people at the resorts, I don't hate the idea of having a capacity. Yeah. Like doing reservations. I don't think that's bad at all.
Yeah.
I think if you structure the company properly and you treat your people properly, then people are going to work for you.
Yeah.
And that's Sun Tzu had a quote on that. Sun Tzu said, if you treat, Art of War. If you treat your lowest soldier like a beloved son, all of them will follow you to the end of the earth. Ooh. And that's something to think about, right?
Can we call them airmen instead?
Hooray! But here's the thing, right?
Off we go. No.
And we talk about the 7 deadly sins. We did a couple episodes ago. I'm tying this back in. I think the reason that we have people at the top making stupid money, and then some of them work a lot of hours, some of them don't. And then we have people at the bottom who are just getting useless. I think it's more of a positional, I think it's an ingrained positional desire that is not spoken, as opposed to them being like, oh, no, this is just where you belong.
Yeah.
It's not good enough. And here's the thing, this human nature is not good enough that one person wins until the other person loses. No one really wants to say that out loud. It's not that I want to be rich. I want to be richer than everybody else. It's not that I want to be the best. I want to be better than everybody else. Those are 2 different things. Also, fun fact, just dropping this in there when we're talking about selling and businesses in general, people don't want to do well. They want to not do poorly.
Ooh.
And this hard wiring that exists. And then just like we said the other time, you're not wired for success, you're wired for survival. The thing of it is that we are often not quick to acknowledge how negative or how much negativity is driving our day-to-day lives.
Okay. How much negativity is driving your day-to-day life? All right.
Well, if we're talking about stepping into a leadership role at this company, I don't want to have people who are just around and you're like, you know what? I'm just trying to not be at the bottom.
Yeah.
No, I want you to think, I want to be at the top.
Yeah.
Not only at the top, I want to be the best I can do. Still at Supra, right?
With that,
I said that.
And you meant it too.
Yeah, it's because it's the name of the recruiting firm.
That makes sense.
Stella Supra.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But with that, you got to incentivize making it to the top. Okay. And I think a lot of people don't do that because they look at it and they see that the ladder is so crooked going up to the top and that there are rungs missing. They're like little prongs missing. You can't just climb up the ladder straight if you do all the right things. If you just keep walking forward and doing the correct expected things, you're not necessarily going to make it. It's not promised. So I think instilling something like that is an incentive, right? I think it's a Jesse Jackson quote or something. Someone asked him about like racism back in the day, and it was an old interview, and the guy asked him like, "Why are black people so good at like sports or something?" And he goes, and I was expecting it to be like something about like, well, yeah, the obvious physical thing sometimes, and I was like, no. He goes, well, a basketball court, football field, all the rules are the same for everyone, and it's hard to show. It's hard because everything's public and all the rules are known. and everything's happening on this big open field or this big court, it's very clear when someone's being either favorited or being done dirty, right?
True.
So I think corporately, I think like if everybody can see what's going on, everybody's very like privy to like how your contract is structured, how everybody's getting paid, how everybody's able to excel if they want to. And if you don't, if you just want to be the dude who does what they do, then that's cool too. But no penalty to that. Like, how do you, not enforce, but how do you integrate that into the system in such a way that it's genuine, it's hard to corrupt, and people understand it?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of that is going to be tough because, just like you said, the nature of humans. I mean, hard to corrupt. Okay, like look at America and like our system. We were like, we got this government. The government's great. We got a constitution. Man, we're going to throw a Bill of Rights at it. Bam. And all these other amendments. But even still, things get a little shaky there too. Even with the best of intentions.
I'm not going to say anything about that.
Ain't going to know about it. But, you know.
That's true, though.
Things
You're
get a
spot
little,
on. Yeah.
How do you keep a system and grow a culture of integrity that outlives yourself, but also perpetuates through the existence of the business?
Oh, that's a complex question, and it's going to have a complex answer that honestly I don't have right now. I have a bit though. I have a little nugget of it.
We'll take a nugget.
That nugget is promote on persons, pay on performance. So again, let's go back to the example of the engineer, right? So the engineer does awesome, and they continue to do awesome.
Yeah.
Pay them more. No problem with that. Okay. But that doesn't mean you have to promote them to leadership. So
when you say pay them more, do you mean like you get $1,000 on your salary for every, like, you know how we had OPRs, right? For every good bullet you have, that's another G, right, on your salary. Or is that like, oh, you did good, and there's evidence that you did a good thing, and there are metrics to maybe like tie it together, quantitative or qualitative, however you want to do it. There's a bonus this year for X amount. Or how do you look at that? And if one person gets promoted, does everybody, or not promoted, but like a bonus for something, does everybody in that department also get one? Or like, I'm sure that person had a team and other people to help facilitate. That might have just been the vessel that the team was working through. You know, I've been on teams where I've worked really hard and done great, and nothing happened. There have been teams I've stepped on, and day 3 of being in there, they were like, "You won an award," and I'm like, "I just got here. I didn't do nothing."
It's the military for you. I don't know. I actually don't know the answer to that. I think that's one we're going to have to work out down the line.
Yeah.
Let's recap.
Oh, cool.
So, person comes work for the company. 30 days off.
30 days.
A week between Palm Sunday and Easter's off.
Mm-hmm.
That's the time that we send up ideas. We're going to do all the things for it.
37 days off, really.
Yeah, well, there's one. And then we're give them all the benefits we can. Make sure their needs taken care of. They shouldn't have to ever worry about dental or health. Work 35 hours a week tops, and that's if you're taking an hour for the gym in the middle of the day. I want you to work hard and go home. I think you should pay them. I think the amount that you list the job for should be the amount after taxes.
Say that last part again.
The amount that you list on the job should be the amount they should expect after taxes.
Say it one more time, because I don't know if the microphone's a little janky. Sometimes it doesn't pick up on everything. But just one more time for my old 30-year-old ears.
The amount that we're listing the job for is the amount that you get paid after taxes.
Amen.
Yeah. So, yeah, cause it just doesn't feel right to me to say like, hey, man, you're going to come work for this job.
Right.
And then I'm going to pay you $50,000 a year, which we'll get into that. And then you get all the taxes and it comes back to like 30. Right. Now, if that's the case, we have the option, because we can control how much you get paid, to be like, hey, we're going to fix these numbers. We're actually paying you like 76, but you can expect to keep 50. Because if you take care of your people, it's going to take care of everything else. Yeah. That's the entire point, not only Life of Logos, right? I'm getting there. And then I'm going to come back to this last week. If God loves people, and we claim to be living a life that is honorable to God in all that we do, then we too must love people.
Yeah.
Right? And if we're going to say that we're, serving the Lord, right? The spirit of love, the spirit of truth, the spirit of justice.
Yeah.
Then you can't put money first. The Bible says that one point blank. You cannot serve God and money. You have to choose one.
You have two masters.
So if that's going to be the case, then yeah, by all means, give them the money that they're due.
Yeah.
Listen to them when they speak.
Love
Give
your
them-
neighbors like you love yourself. How would you treat yourself if you were your own boss?
Give them the time off.
Right.
And give them the opportunity to be with their family, because that is always going to be more important.
Yeah.
Here's the last part. 6 months after Easter, whatever that may be.
Okay.
So it's usually October, and the prom plan in November, obviously.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to take another week off.
Okay.
And we're going to send people on mission trips. Go somewhere. Go somewhere with people that need help and connect to the fact that you are human. See what it's like for other people who have less than you. I'm going to give you a quick story. I was in the Dominican Republic one time, and the people, we were in this village tearing down a church, I think, which sounds dumb. They were trying to rebuild it, by the way.
How about this?
They were trying to rebuild it, and they were like, we got to get rid of this stuff, which was great. And we were going around just praying for people.
Yeah.
And we ended up in this woman's house. Now, this house was some 2x4s, corrugated metal sheets for the roof, for the sides, had an oven, dirt floor. There were roosters walking through the house.
They lived there too.
They lived there too. All right.
Dang.
And I don't know, they weren't like fat roosters. They was like gaunt roosters, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, looking roosters.
Got them skinny chickens.
Yeah, even the chicken's candy. We walked up to this woman.
Low calorie. That's what that is.
Bro, we walked up to this woman. We're like, hey, is there any way we could be praying for you?
Yeah.
You know what she said?
Mo chicken?
No. She said, pray for the people in Africa who have nothing. I'm like, you.
Dang.
Dirt floor.
Dang.
Like,
Dang.
you don't know how this oven's working. It's not plugged up to anything.
Yeah.
If the wind blows, you won't have any blankets. You don't wear it on a mat in the corner of this dirt hut, and you want me to go pray for somebody who has it worse than you? And then we come in this situation, and people are crying at Disneyland. You are in the lap of luxury. There's literally not a happier place on earth. You go down to South Crenshaw, and people are struggling to keep the lights on.
Yeah.
You know, there's people around here, we're in Torrance, who are house poor.
Yeah.
And we have it so good that we oftentimes forget how bad it can be. And when you see people who are happy with nothing, it is the most humbling thing in the world. So everybody in the company, get your boots on. We're going to go visit some of these people because you will always have poor people.
Yeah.
That's what Jesus said.
Yeah.
Always going to have poor people. But then he also said, those who do this unto the least of these also do this to me.
Yep.
Let's go then. We got to be priorities. You got me ranting. We're going to have 35 minutes.
35 minutes.
Man.
Just for a minute for every hour you be working over here at Life Logos or over at the park, because it's not long.
No.
It's not long.
We're going to get there soon enough.
It's coming.
With that, this is Life Logos. Colin.
I'm Ken.
Be on the next